Brigitte Bardot's final public moments offered a quiet, moving farewell to a life of stardom, conviction, and compassion. In the final weeks of her life, Brigitte Bardot, one of the most recognizable figures in global cinema history, offered the world a gentle, understated farewell. Rather than red carpets or retrospectives, her last public appearances came through the work she had devoted herself to for more than half a century, protecting animals who had no voice of their own. The legendary French actress and cultural icon passed away at the age of 91 following a hospital stay in Toulon, southern France. Though her health had been fragile in recent months, news of her death resonated deeply across France and beyond, marking the end of a life that reshaped beauty standards, challenged societal norms, and later transformed fame into activism. Her final public images showed not a fading star, but a woman at peace, engaged, alert, and visibly content, doing precisely what had given her purpose long after she stepped away from the film industry. A last glimpse through the work she loved. The most recent posts associated with Bardot came not from a personal account, but from the official Instagram page of the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, the animal welfare organization she founded in 1986. These updates, shared quietly with supporters, now stand as her final public moments. One video showed Bardot spending time with a Doberman named Urfi, a dog in search of a new home. Urfi had been relocated to a shelter after his owner was forced to enter a nursing facility, an all-too-common story that Bardot spent decades trying to address through rescue and adoption campaigns. In the footage, Bardot appeared relaxed and present, interacting warmly with the dog alongside other volunteers. There was no sense of ceremony, no hint that these moments would soon take on historic significance. Instead, they reflected the everyday reality of her later years: hands-on involvement, quiet determination, and unwavering concern for animals abandoned by circumstance. Another recent post, shared during the Christmas season, showed Bardot gently kissing a rescued dog while Foundation staff extended holiday wishes to supporters around the world. The message emphasized gratitude, compassion, and care, not celebrity, legacy, or farewell. In hindsight, these images have become deeply poignant. They captured Bardot exactly as she wished to be remembered, not as a symbol, but as a protector. The Foundation announces a loss felt worldwide. The Brigitte Bardot Foundation confirmed her death in a formal statement released on Sunday morning. The announcement expressed profound sadness while honoring the extraordinary transformation Bardot made during her lifetime. The foundation described its founder as a globally renowned actress and singer who deliberately stepped away from immense fame in order to dedicate her remaining years to animal welfare. While details surrounding the exact time and location of her passing were not disclosed, the message emphasized that Bardot's mission would continue. For the organization, her death marked not an ending, but a responsibility to carry forward the work she built from the ground up. From screen sensation to cultural earthquake. Brigitte Bardot's rise to fame was both meteoric and transformative. Born on September 28, 1934 in Paris, she initially trained as a ballet dancer at the National Conservatory for Music and Dance. Discipline and artistic precision shaped her early years long before she became synonymous with sensual freedom. Her breakthrough came in 1956 with And God Created Woman, directed by Roger Vadim, who would later become her first husband. The film itself divided critics, but Bardot's presence electrified audiences. Her portrayal of an uninhibited young woman challenged post-war moral conventions and redefined how femininity was portrayed on screen. Almost overnight, Bardot became an international phenomenon. She was no longer simply an actress, she was a cultural force. American magazine Time famously described her as France's ogled export, while photographers, designers, and filmmakers competed to capture her image. Her hairstyles, fashion choices, and unapologetic confidence reshaped global beauty standards. Yet beneath the iconography, Bardot struggled deeply with the machinery of fame. Fame, pressure, and withdrawal from the spotlight. Despite her success, Bardot often spoke of the emotional toll exacted by constant attention. Public fascination blurred into intrusion, and her personal life became tabloid fodder long before such scrutiny became commonplace. She married and divorced 3 times before eventually finding stability with her 4th husband, Bernard Dormal, whom she married in 1992. By the early 1970s, Bardot made a decision that shocked the entertainment world. She walked away from acting entirely at the age of 39. Her final film was released in 1973. She never returned to cinema. For Bardot, fame had ceased to be liberating. She sought meaning elsewhere, and found it among animals. A life redirected towards activism. After retiring from film, Bardot redirected her energy into animal rights with the same intensity that once fueled her stardom. In 1986, she founded the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, dedicating her wealth, influence, and relentless determination to protecting animals worldwide. A committed vegetarian, Bardot campaigned against animal testing, industrial farming practices, and inhumane treatment in circuses and zoos. Her foundation funded shelters, rescue operations, sterilization campaigns, and emergency aid efforts across multiple continents. One of her most notable interventions came in 2013, when 2 aging elephants in a Lyon zoo were denied treatment for tuberculosis. Bardot threatened to renounce her French citizenship and seek asylum in Russia if the elephants were euthanized. After a prolonged legal battle, the elephants were spared. Years earlier, she had funded the sterilization and adoption of hundreds of thousands of stray dogs in Bucharest, contributing over $140,000 to the effort. Her activism was not symbolic, it was operational, persistent, and often confrontational. Praise, criticism, and controversy. While Bardot's animal advocacy earned admiration, her later years were not with controversy. She became associated with far-right political views and publicly supported National Rally leader Marine Le Pen. Her rhetoric, particularly regarding immigration and religion, led to multiple legal convictions for inciting racial hatred. She was fined several times by French courts, including in 2004 following the publication of her book, A Scream in the Silence. These incidents complicated her public legacy, creating sharp divisions between those who revered her activism and those who condemned her statements. Yet still, Bardot remained unapologetic. She saw herself as independent, ungoverned by public approval, a trait that had defined her since her earliest days in cinema.
Praise, criticism, and controversy. While Bardot's animal advocacy earned admiration, her later years were not without controversy. She became associated with far-right political views and publicly supported National Rally leader Marine Le Pen. Her rhetoric, particularly regarding immigration and religion, led to multiple legal convictions for inciting racial hatred. She was fined several times by French courts, including in 2004 following the publication of her book, A Scream in the Silence. These incidents complicated her public legacy, creating sharp divisions between those who revered her activism and those who condemned her statements. Even so, Bardot remained unapologetic. She saw herself as independent, ungoverned by public approval, a trait that had defined her since her earliest days in cinema. Final years, reclusion and resilience. In her final years, Bardot lived largely in seclusion at her property in Saint-Tropez. She rarely appeared in public, preferring privacy and routine over attention. Health challenges became more frequent, and she was hospitalized several times. In October, false reports of her death circulated online, prompting Bardot to issue a sharp denial. Writing on social media, she dismissed the rumors with characteristic bluntness, assuring the public she was alive and had no intention of bowing out. Soon afterward, she returned home following weeks of medical treatment. Those close to her say she remained mentally sharp and emotionally invested in her foundation's work until the end. A nation mourns a complicated icon. Following confirmation of her death, French President Emmanuel Macron paid tribute, describing Bardot as a legend who embodied freedom. In a public statement, he acknowledged both her artistic influence and her enduring impact on French identity. He spoke of her films, her voice, her global fame, and her dedication to animals, calling her a figure whose presence transcended generations. For many in France, Bardot represented contradiction and courage in equal measure, a woman who refused